Hey, it's John here from John Still Runs. I'm completing the second part of a Garmin daily suggested workout of 80 minutes. This morning I did 40 minutes and this afternoon I'm doing the second 40 minutes on the same route that I travelled this morning. And I've got to say, it's given me an idea for a video. What difference does an increase in temperature make to your running pace and heart rate? Now, I've done this calculation, or attempted to do this calculation before in years gone past, but I've gotten older since, perhaps not quite as quick, not quite as fit and healthy, but I'm going to do an experiment in the foreseeable future where you can hear the cicadas, aren't they loud, where I will do another split run where in the first part I will attempt a certain pace and then see what my heart rate is, and then in the second part where I'll run in the hotter part of the day, I'll attempt to keep the same heart rate and see what happens to my pace. In the second part of the experiment, I'm going to replicate the same split run, but this time in the second part, attempting to keep the same pace and see what happens to my heart rate. So by keeping one of the variables constant for that experiment, we'll be able to see what the changes are to heart rate and pace. So let's do this experiment. So I'm just about to do run 1, where I'm going to establish a heart rate, and this morning that run will be 20 minutes, and this afternoon again 20 minutes, where I'm going to run at the same heart rate and see how much slower the pace is, potentially in about 20 degrees warmer than it is this morning. It's around about 19 at the moment. So here we go. Just about finished. 20-minute run. I'm going to establish, well, we'll establish a heart rate to aim for this afternoon when I do the same run and see how much slower it is in the heat. As you can tell from the light, this is run 2, a lot warmer, not quite as warm as I thought it might be. Feels like about 31. We're going to try and maintain our heart rate at 122 beats per minute and see how that affects our pace from this morning, which was 6 minutes 10 seconds per kilometre. So here we go. Well, that was a lot harder than I thought it would be. Not effort-wise, but just keeping the heart rate down to 122 beats per minute average. So I'll put the results up here and we'll talk about them soon after tomorrow's run, which will consist of the same course at 6:10 pace. We'll see what the heart rate is. And in the afternoon, we're going to try and do 6:10 pace again and see how high the heart rate goes. I can tell you now, though, that from that one, the pace was certainly a lot slower at the same heart rate from this morning. See you tomorrow. Just about to do run 3. So it's a base run this morning. Going to run at an easy pace. And then this afternoon, in the heat, see if we can replicate that pace and see what happens to the heart rate. So let's do this base run this morning. Well, that completes run 3. Same 3.25 kilometres and about just over the 3k mark. We'll try and do that again this afternoon at the same pace. I deliberately kept it pretty easy, so we'll see how we go this afternoon. It's predicted to be fairly warm. Well, just about to start my fourth and final run. I'm going to do the same course, around about 3¼ kilometres at the pace I maintained this morning, 6:22. See what happens to my heart rate this afternoon. This morning we averaged at 117 beats per minute. Let's do this. Coming in to the end of the fourth and final experimental run, 3¼ kilometres, and I've got to say I dealt much better with the heat this afternoon than I did yesterday afternoon. Interesting. So there, let's see what effect that has on my heart rate. Certainly put it up, but it didn't put it up as much as I thought it would this afternoon compared to this morning. So let's go inside and have a look at those results and draw some conclusion. Right, here I am, not exactly inside, but outside, ready to talk about the results of our run heat experiment, which I did 4 runs, and a run in the morning and in the afternoon on 2 consecutive days, to see what effect running in the afternoon with the increased heat would have on my pace and my heart rate. So in the first experiment, you can see the results up here. In the first experiment on day 1, I ran in the morning at for a particular time, 20 minutes, and achieved about 3¼ kilometres with a certain pace and heart rate. Did that same run in the afternoon with the temperature significantly higher. I used the feels like temperature rather than the dry bulb temperature, because the feels like temperature takes into account humidity and wind speed as well, which of course, you know, if there's a wind, it cools your sweat down, and you lose heat more easily. And that's why running in the heat, the basic reason why running in the heat is harder is because blood is diverted away from your muscles to your skin to allow sweat to occur and that sweat to evaporate, which of course is harder if it's more humid. And that's why the feels like temperature, I think, is a more accurate number to use in this experiment. So the overall conclusion, I think, can be that running in hotter weather is going to slow you down and or increase your heart rate. There's no doubt about that. And I tried to measure it, and I've worked out that for every 2 degrees centigrade, the temperature is increased for me and for that experiment from about 17 degrees. It seems to be that there's a 7-second per kilometre slowdown and a 1 beat per minute heart rate increase. Now that second experiment on day 2 is interesting because I think I was better hydrated that second day, which I think made a difference. My heart rate, I think, didn't go as high as possibly it could have. And I'd actually accumulated or acquired a certain amount of heat acclimation from about, I think it was about 58 to 68% according to the Garmin heat acclimation measure that's provided on certain watches, including mine, the Instinct 2S. So therefore, my major conclusion is you will run slower and it will be harder for you if you run in the afternoon, but you will adapt if you have regular episodes of running in the heat. So there you go. Hope you found that interesting. I certainly did doing that experiment. If you can think of another experiment you'd like me to do that doesn't hurt me significantly, I'd be only too happy. So all for now, and we will catch up with you another time.